Hey, this is Eric. Welcome back to the African Homestead. Today, I'm going to do something scary. So when I opened this video, I said today I'm going to do something scary. And I should probably give the credit. I don't know if it's credit or blame, but at least a shout out to Austin at Homestead. He is in the middle, not even the middle, but in the midst of a 100-day video challenge that he put on himself called Do Something Scary. And it inspired me, it convicted me that I need to do a few scary things in my life to move this homestead forward, to move my development forward. And so that starts today. So you may be asking yourself, dude, you live in Africa, you're getting ready to homestead. You know, you left your life in the States behind, you left your career, all this kind of stuff. What could you possibly be scared of? Let me show you. Ooh, right, ooh, right there. That's one wicked rabbit. Anyway, how can I be scared of a cute little bunny rabbit with very long claws? Well, other than the claws, it's not the rabbit that I'm scared of. It's the processing of that rabbit, because you know, I got a pair of rabbits a little over a year ago, started breeding them. All of my hutches are full, and I had always intended on butchering the rabbits for meat. That's part of our development project that we're doing here in Liberia. It's one of the ways that we want to help people have a highly reproducible protein source, something that requires fairly small amount of care. It's a quiet animal. You can do it with basic housing, basic materials, and it's something that has a great opportunity to help people here in Liberia. But here's two problems. I've never butchered a rabbit before. I've never even eaten rabbit before. And so to go around and tell people, hey, rabbit is something that is good for you, it's easy to raise and all that. So I've done every step in this process. I've built hutches, I've bred the rabbits, I've taken care of the kits, we've weaned the kits, but have yet to butcher any of the rabbits. And there was this, it's almost like a mental block for me, where I was just a little scared. I mean, honestly, I was just scared. I've never butchered a rabbit. And even growing up, other than cleaning catfish that I would catch where I lived in Kansas, I didn't butcher animals. I didn't grow up on a farm. And so recently we had a wedding we hosted at our house. Our Liberian daughter got married. And in preparation for that, we butchered 2 goats. I didn't do the butchering, but I observed. And that helped remove some of the fear of killing and butchering an animal. And then a few days, that was for the traditional wedding. A few days later, we were having a wedding in our church. And for that, we butchered a hog. Again, never witnessed the dispatching and butchering of a hog. And I did. And again, that just seeing that process removed some of the fear. And all of a sudden, butchering the rabbits became a lot less scary, a lot less intimidating. This is one place that YouTube is fantastic. I've watched lots of videos. I've really educated myself on the process. Mentally, I know that this really isn't that difficult. It's not a highly technical job. It's not even a messy job. And yet, I had this fear that for whatever reason, I would butcher it. But, sorry, that was bad. But the video I think I found most helpful, someone put out a couple of videos showing Daniel Salatin, Joel Salatin's son, butchering rabbits and talking about that process. And I've watched some other videos, but that one in particular just seemed like the simplest process to me. And so that's what I'm going to follow today in butchering. And I'll have to admit, this is not my first rabbit. I actually, a couple of days ago, I came out here, I didn't tell anybody what I was doing. I secretly came out and I butchered my first rabbit, so I wouldn't have any witnesses to see me just mess it up. Well, as it turned out, it wasn't really that bad. So technically, this won't be my first time, but it will be my second time. And so for those of you out there who've never butchered a rabbit, you're going to be able to see an amateur do it today. Someone who doesn't have long experience in not only butchering rabbits, but butchering any livestock. And so I'm learning as I go, but YouTube has been just a fantastic resource. And I just want to add one thing that I learned. I think it was on, I searched for it, I couldn't find it. I think it was on one of Justin Rhodes' videos. But I don't remember the person that said it. But they said for their livestock, they should only have one bad day. You know, in their lives, from the time they're born to when they're raised to when they mature, and they reach that day when the purpose of their life within this setting is fulfilled, and that's when they're butchered. And the farmer or the individual who's put all the resources and energy into raising the animal receives the benefit of that. Up until that day, the livestock, whether it's a pig or a cow or a chicken or a goat or whatever, a rabbit, it should have a good life. It should be treated humanely, it should be well fed, it should have comfortable housing, it should be a good life. And then they have that one bad day. And so for some of our meat rabbits, today is going to be their one bad day. And so just wanted to share that with you. And let's get to butchering. Before I start processing the rabbits, I want to share a couple of things. First, I actually shot the bulk of this video all the way back in January. One thing led to another, and I didn't get finished with it. I really wanted to get some close-up shots of the work I was doing so you could see it. I felt like the camera was a little bit too far away, and so that's what I'm shooting today. I'm wearing the same shirt though. And second thing I wanted to add in here is anytime you post a video like this, you run the risk of getting activists involved in trying to intimidate people from posting these types of videos. And I'm fully aware of that. Even though I'm a small channel, I'm not even at 500 subscribers at the time of this shooting. But at the same time, they like to pick on people. And so I would encourage you, really more than ever, if you could give this video a thumbs up, because I suspect I'm going to get some thumbs down on this video. I may get some nasty comments, and I can handle that. I have no problem with that. But for everyone that's negative, I'd love it if I could get 2, 3, 5, 10 positive comments, positive thumb up, share the video, those types of things, just to really support not just the African homestead, but to support this homesteading lifestyle, to support growing our own food, be it vegetables or fruits or meat rabbits. And so I just want to encourage you on that, and thanks a lot for watching. Okay, to start off with, you're going to need to assemble your materials, and really it doesn't take a whole lot. Here I've hung some nylon string, put slip loops on the end, so I'll be able to put the feet inside and tighten them. I prefer this type of a line just because it's flexible and it'll actually become less stiff over time, and so and it's nice and strong, so I like that. The next thing you are going to need is a very sharp knife. When I did my trial butchering a couple of days ago, I brought out 2 knives. I brought my fillet knife for my filleting fish, and did use that most of the time. I brought another knife that I tried to sharpen, and it just wasn't as sharp as this fillet knife, and so I ended up just using this exclusively. I noticed when I watched Salatin's video, it looks like he had 2 or 3 knives in his bowl of water that he used for various parts of the butchering. For this one, I just ended up coming back to this knife every time. So this is the only knife I'm going to use today. And then the last thing you're going to need is a bowl of water. This is going to be useful for washing your hands if you get any fur on your hands, which I was surprised. There's not a lot of problem with fur in how this butchering and skinning happens. And so just to rinse your hands off, also to rinse the knives off, and then I use the same water that I set the rabbit in once it's finished and cleaned. And ideally, you want to have ice in here. You want it to be cold water so you can get the carcass chilled as quickly as possible. But here in Liberia, ice is a premium product, and it's only for human consumption. So I'm not using it out here. But as soon as I get the rabbits clean that I'm cleaning today, I'm going to go and put them in a saltwater brine and put them in the fridge for 24 hours. And I tell you what, I really found with that first one, you know, rabbits have this bad reputation of being a dry, tough meat. And actually the rabbit that I butchered was past, you know, this 10 to 12 week age where it's ideal to butcher them, and it was probably more about 5 months old. And the one I'm butchering today is going to be older than that. This one is probably about 10 months old, 8 to 10 months old. And but I put it in a saltwater brine immediately and chilled it for 24 hours, and then all I did was wrap a couple pieces of bacon on the I actually cut the carcass up into 6 pieces, and 2 hams, 2 front legs, I guess I don't know what you call it, shoulders, and then the loin I cut into 2 pieces. Wrap them in bacon, put some barbecue sauce on them, bake them for about a little over an hour at 325. They were amazing, so flavorful, so tender, so juicy, and I loved it. I shared it around with the family. Everybody loved it. And so I'm excited now that I've gotten over this hump, over this fear, and I did that scary thing. I'm going to do it again today. That it removes that fear. Experience removes fear. So whatever you're afraid of, just do it. My goats are chasing each other. Sorry about that. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I've already stunned the rabbit with a sharp strike across the back of the head. And so it is completely unconscious and has no idea what's going on now. So I want to just get her hung. The next step is to cut the throat. Okay. And this is one place where having a sharp knife is nice, because just one slice, I was able to cut the artery and the rabbit's bleeding out. And any movement now is just involuntary muscle spasm, it's just nerves. And that's one thing that Daniel Salatin, I noticed in watching his video, he doesn't really walk through step by step how to butcher the rabbit. He's talking about a variety of different subjects during that time. But just watching how he does it, fortunately in that video, I think he butchers 4 or 5 rabbits during the filming. And so you're able to see just how he progresses. One thing I noticed is that he will hold the head to the side, and that definitely helps keep that artery open and let the blood flow freely. He also usually does 2 at a time, and so he'll dispatch one, hang a second one after cutting the throat on the first, then cut the throat on the second, or the artery, and then by the time the second one is bleeding out, the first one's ready to start cleaning. Okay, so the next step in cleaning the rabbit will be to cut the skin away from the legs. So you start, I found that just going and pinching up the skin a little bit, inserting the knife just under the skin and then moving up works well. Like I say, I'm no expert, and so just take time. You can see the muscles exposed now. And the next part is to go around the leg, around the foot. You want to take time. You want to be careful not to cut the tendons, because as you're pulling this down, if you cut the tendons, it's going to want to pull the muscle with it. It's going to want to pull the meat with it. And so in this case, everything, just kind of pull that down. So that's the first part. Do the same thing on the other leg. So you have both legs exposed, and then you come, I'm going to put the knife down for a second, and then you pull the skin loose so that you can insert your thumb all the way through on the lower back, just below the tail. Okay, and then you just carefully put the knife through there. Come up, like that. Pull the skin forward. You'll be, you know, whether it's a male or a female, you want to just cut loose the genitals. Okay. Put the knife down again, and then you just pull the skin down. I tell you what, the older the rabbit is, the tougher this is going to be. But you can see I'm not even grunting. So you pull this down until the legs are exposed. And then one thing that Daniel Salatin did, and I haven't been able to do it yet, is somehow, he says it's like breaking a wrist, but you want to separate that. You basically want to pop that joint on the front foot. But what I ended up doing last time, and I think I'm going to have to do this time, is I ended up just getting a knife in there and cutting the ligaments away. And because yeah, I'm not sure how to, there's a certain way I'm sure you can twist it and it goes really simply. Let me try it this way. Nope. Anyway, so what I'm going to end up doing is getting my knife. Rinse my hands off real quick. So just put the knife through there. Come up to that joint. Again, take time. I'm using sharp knife. Okay. And this actually should take, literally, it should just take a few seconds. But since I haven't figured out yet how to pop that joint, then, you know, I'm stuck with having to cut it away, basically. For those of you who are experienced in this, I would love for you to give me some feedback, because just dealing with this ends up making the whole process take about twice as long. Okay. Second one is off. Go ahead and put my knife down again. So we pull this down to where you're at the head. Just come in. Make sure the skin is free of the leg. And again, you shouldn't have to do this. That's the thing, the people that do this and have been doing it for years make it look amazingly easy. And the other hard part, the other part that I don't like about using this knife to take off the head is that as you're cutting through the bone, if the spine's not severed and you have this clear gap between the vertebrae, it'll dull the knife. And so that's one thing I don't like about this so far. But again, any advice you have, you want to shoot some video links to me, I would love that. Share it with, not only with me, but with the community I'm building. And so the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and remove all the guts. So make an insert here, going up, and then coming down. I come down to around the breastbone. Okay. And one thing I do, even though I don't like the liver and the heart, I'm going to save those. I have a little Labrador puppy, and so this is really good nutrient for him. So I'm going to save the heart. That's the liver. I want to save that. Maybe this is the liver. Maybe I have no idea what I'm talking about. But I want to save that. And so if I did a good job of this all should pull through. It looks like I did the same thing as I did last time. Is the I guess you call it the colon, ended up separating here. So I'll split open the pelvis and get all that cleaned out. Next, I'll open up the diaphragm that separates the lung and the heart. Just pull that out. And that actually, when I was pulling all of the guts out, a lot of that came with it. Let me see here. Okay. Actually, none of it came with it. So, scratch that. So again, the heart I'm going to keep for my puppy, and the rest are going to go to the chickens. The next step is to cut open the pelvis, and then if there's anything, like in my case, where not all of the tract came out, then that's the time to get it cleaned out. Just run your thumb through there, clean that out. The final part here is to take the legs off, and Joel makes this really slick. I'm not going to, but basically, safety first. I put my knife down. I'm just gonna break the leg. Break it here. Okay. I think he's able to find the joint and cut that. Okay, so that's it. It's my second rabbit ever. It's probably the second longest length of time in butchering a rabbit ever, but it's done. And I'm gonna go put this in some salt water and get cleaned up. So as you know, chickens are omnivores, and so this is something, think about it. This is full of potato greens and other things that chickens eat, and they're omnivores, so they're also gonna enjoy the protein and other benefits in here. Chick, 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 chick. Well, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something as I did. I hope that it inspires you to do something scary, to overcome whatever fear you may have, whether that's butchering rabbits or chickens or whatever, or whether it's pulling the trigger, quitting a job, changing your lifestyle. It can be anything. It's all so individual. And so I just want to encourage you, do something scary today, do something scary tomorrow. Also, I'd love for you to subscribe to this channel. We're going to have just a variety of videos. Some are going to be how-to, some are going to be on our homesteading journey, some are going to be just vlogs talking about our life here in Liberia, West Africa, just a variety of things. So I'd love for you to come along on that journey. If you have any questions or comments or advice, please leave comments below. The subscribe button is there. I'd love for you to share the video. Maybe someone who is in the same situation as me, who has some livestock and just hasn't yet got the gumption to start butchering. And so send them my video. Hopefully it will inspire them and help them. That's it. Have a great day. God bless you.